What's going on, guys? I'm back again today with another ratings review for NHL 23. Today they released some kind of random ratings, but still going to go over all of them with you guys, give you my thoughts. Starting off here, we have the top 10 players under 23 years old. Now, number one there, guys, we have Andrei Svechnikov, 88 overall. Obviously, already mentioned him with the top 10 left wingers. I feel like that's a pretty decent rating, but he definitely should have the skilled up X factor as probably a zone ability, if anything. Number two there, Rasmus Dahlin, also 88 overall. I think I mentioned him as well before, but I think that's a bit too high so far. I'd say probably more like an 87. I don't think he's quite earned 88 yet, as obviously last year was an improvement for him, but the year before that was a bit rough, so I think 87 is more fair. Trevor Zekas there, 87 overall. I definitely think a bit of a cover boost. In my eyes, he's probably more like an 85 or 86. 86, I think, probably is more than fair. 87, definitely a bit too high. Jack Hughes, number 4 after him, also 87 overall. Obviously, these two guys played together for a bit on that U.S. development program team. Jack Hughes was taken first overall. Jack Hughes has had over a point per game in NHL season. Zegas has not. I think Hughes should be higher rated. I feel like a more fair rating for Hughes would probably be 88, which is kind of funny, guys. He actually had like a ratings reel with Nasher, and he agreed with me.
Yeah, this is whatever.
He deserves to be.
More than 87. I'm realistic.
Really?
I know where I am. I'm under 89, but I'm better than 87.
Okay, so you should be at an 88.
That's 2 years in a row.
So I thought that clip was pretty funny, guys. He's a little salty there, only being 87 overall. And like I mentioned, I agree with him. I mean, look at his stats last year. He had 56 points in 49 games, averaging over a point per game. He probably deserves to be an 88, equal to Andrei Svechnikov. Now after him at number 5, you have Moritz Seider, 87 overall. We know top 10 right defenseman in the game. I actually think 87 for Seider is very, very fair. I don't like to make my rookies, too high rated after one season. So I like, kind of tempering expectations unless they're like McDavid, Crosby, Ovechkin. I think 87 for Seider is very fair. And after him at number 6, you have Bowen Byram, 85 overall. I think that is way too high for Byram. If you guys don't know, he's played less than 50 NHL regular season games. He's got 19 points. 17 and 30 last year. Now, he did have 9 points in 20 games in the playoffs last year, which is pretty solid, but I think 85 for him after 50 NHL games played, not even a full season under his belt yet, is way too high, especially since, I'm just going to jump down a little bit, Noah Dobson here at number 9, 84 overall, 1 overall below Byram, had 51 points last year. So, Dobson has more points than Byram has games played, and he's 1 overall lower. I don't really understand that one. Dobson also has more responsibilities on that Islanders defense than Byram does. Playing behind Makar, Tage, Girard, I don't know how they did this. So honestly, guys, I think I would switch these two, and then after the switch, I would still give Dobson a +1, and then drop Byram by 1 more. Number 7 there is Tim Stützle, 85. I think 85 for him is pretty fair rating. Crazy to me the contract the Senators gave him. Obviously, they're hoping he's going to continue to accelerate his growth and become an even better player. But if he stays where he is, I think $8 million is definitely too much. But I think that's the case with a lot of new contracts, younger players. Josh Norris, for instance, on that Senators team as well. Number 8 here, Spencer Knight, 84 overall. This one's really tough. I feel like goalies are the hardest position to rate, as they can be awesome one year, crap the next, and maybe the third year they're mediocre. So they're all over the place. Looking at Spencer Knight's career here, you can see he had 11 games in the AHL last year, which obviously isn't a good sign. 32 NHL games played, 2.79 goals against. So those are pretty decent numbers. They're not amazing or anything, nor are they terrible. The thing is, he had the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers playing in front of him, which I think definitely helped him out. So personally, because he is younger, I would probably have him rated 82, maybe 83, but of course I would still have him with that high league potential. You gotta know, if you play franchise, young players grow a ton. Now, I think when they do the ratings, they care more about play now versus than they care about franchise, which is kind of always interesting to me. I think a lot more people play franchise than play now, but it is what it is. I kind of already touched on Dobson again. I think I would have him at 86, which I guess would actually put on number 6 on this list. And then Cole Caulfield there, 84 overall. Obviously, he had a terrible start to the year, but I think that had a lot to do with coaching. Once they brought in Martin St. Louis, he was, I think, averaging almost a point per game. If not, he was very, very close. So, personally, I think 84 for Caulfield, one of the better young scorers in the league, is a fair rating. And speaking of young players, guys, right here with the first overall pick, Slafkovsky, who's going to be a 78 in NHL 23, which I think is pretty fair. Obviously, this draft wasn't supposed to be an amazing draft or anything. Like Bedard, for instance, should definitely be at least an 82 out of the draft. 78 for Slafkovsky, I actually think is pretty decent. His game face needs some work, doesn't really look like him, but Shane Wright's here looks a lot better, looks exactly like him. Also 78 overall. Again, I think that's fair. Obviously, Slafkovsky did go number 1, but up till the draft, right down to the wire, it was 1 or 2. Who's going to go first? Who's going to go second? Wright, of course, falls to 4, but they were the one to kind of punch. I think Wright could even have a better season if he's playing second line center with the Kraken. Has a couple good wingers. So making them both 78, I think was honestly the way to go. I did the exact same thing with my ratings in NHL 22. And then we also have Owen Power's rating, guys. The first overall pick from a year ago, 82 overall. Game face there, not terrible, not great. Brendan Sokowski's not as good as Wright, so is what it is. I think 82 is a little bit too high for him. He played 8 games in the NHL last year, putting up 3 points. Again, like, I don't want to kind of rate a rookie too high out the gate. Now, he was the first overall pick, but again, it wasn't like a crazy draft class. Playing with Michigan last year, basically had a point per game. Personally, though, I don't know, to start the season, 82 just seems a bit high for him. It's not terrible. I'd probably have him 80, maybe 81. Again, guys, personally for young players, I prefer to go lower than higher because you know what their potential, they're going to grow in franchise. And even for like play now or whatever, if they have a good season, they're going to get a ratings boost during the year anyways. So just to, kind of err on the side of caution in case they actually end up not being too great, which I don't think will be the case for Power, but my point stands. Now, next guys here with the top 10 Deaking players in NHL 23. Number 1, Cale Makar. I don't know about that. I think Cale Makar definitely has probably the nastiest hands for defenseman, but I definitely don't think he has the nastiest hands in the league. I think the guy that they had number 2 there, technically tied with him, but the fact that, they gave Makar the number 1 spot's interesting to me, probably just to make me upset here. I'm sure some of you guys watching upset as well. McDavid, I think, in my opinion, has the nastiest hands in the league. Just every game you watch him, he pulls off some insane move. Doesn't always lead to a goal or whatever, but he's always doing something crazy. The fact that, Makar had that really nice move on Kirby Dach this year, literally broke his ankles, but McDavid does something like that, I'd say, almost every game. McDavid should have the number 1 spot. You could honestly give him 99 Deaking, and I think you'd be pretty hard-pressed to argue with that. Makar's Deaking there, I wouldn't have 97. I think it probably should be more like, a 95, maybe a 94. That's still really, really good for defensemen. Kucherov there at 3, 96. I think the 3 spot should probably be Patty Kane, who also has 96, but again, I don't know. In the rankings that they have him at 5, for whatever reason, maybe the rest of his hands, Kucherov's better, or maybe they just randomly, chose a list opposed to having some sort of tiebreaker. Kucherov has good hands, 96. Like, that's so high. When I think, like, the best hands in the league, I think McDavid, I think Patty Kane, I think McKinnon. McKinnon there's at number 9, 94 Deaking. That's a little low for me. So, again, Kucherov, 96. Probably have him more like a 95, 94. Same goes for Panarin. I think, Kane should have 96. Maybe even 97 with McDavid like a 99. Gaudreau 96. I do think Gaudreau also has some really, really nice hands. I think that's a good rating. And next up, guys, at number 7, we have David Pastrnak with 95 Deaking. Obviously, I think he's a good player. Has some pretty good hands. That's a little bit too high for him, though. He should probably be like the low 90s. I think I mentioned the same thing last year, but his teammate, Brad Marchand, pulls off more deeks per game. I'd say has a bit better hands. So if anybody from the Bruins should have 95 Deaking, it's probably Marchand. And if not, maybe you can even put Jack Hughes in that spot who we were just talking about. I think Hughes, a lot of people are comparing him to Patrick Kane for having, such sick hands. Wouldn't mind seeing him in this top 10 as well. And actually, guys, speaking of Jack Hughes, I just made me think, how is Trevor Zegras not on this top 10 list? The dude's on the cover for how good his deeks were last year, scoring the behind-the-net flip pass, scoring a Michigan goal. I would definitely have Zegras with 94 Deaking, no question about it, but is what it is. Maybe he's got like 93 or 92. Number 8 there, Kirill Kaprizov, 94 Deaking. I don't think it's too bad. McKinnon, like I said, I think should be higher. I'd probably have him like 96 Deaking, maybe like 1 behind Kane. Mitch Marner there, 94 Deaking. I think Marner's got some pretty good hands as well. Same with his teammate there, Austin Matthews. I'm surprised, honestly, not to see Matthews on this list. And look at this, guys. Just on the side here, voted on by the players. Patrick Kane has the best hands in the league. Second, there's McDavid. Third's McKinnon. Now, I'm not sure what the years this is from. As like I said, personally, I would have McDavid number 1 at this point, Kane 2, McKinnon 3. But yeah, it just shows that should be your top 3. McKinnon there way too low. The fact that Makar's number 1, a defenseman, I don't care how good he is. I really do think he's amazing. He should not be 1 on this list. Even beating out McDavid via tiebreaker, still a bit of a joke. And now next year, guys, we have the hardest shots in the game. Number 1 for slap shot power is Alex Ovechkin, 96. I mean, if he's in his, office there on a 1T, probably no one, smashing that puck harder than Ovi. So that's a bit hard to argue with. Now, Victor Hedman, I feel, if both of them are skating up to a puck, could probably edge him out just because he is so much bigger. It'd be close, though. I feel like maybe both these guys 95 or something. It's pretty close, like I said. Stamkos as well has an amazing 1T, so 94 slap shot power makes a lot of sense. Patrick Laine there, 94. Again, he's got that similar 1T to Ovi. Adam Pelech, 93 is interesting. Now, he did have a hard slap shot last at the All-Star game. You can see 102.2, 1 mile per hour exactly behind Victor Hedman, who I said should have a 95. So at that point, 93 for him seems fair. The thing is, his teammate Ryan Pollock, who's nowhere on this list, has a harder slap shot than him. So if Pelech is 93, Pollock should be at least a 94, if not a 95. Again, I think Pelech too. I mean, like, the slap shot thing, there's only 4 guys to go off of. You can see they're all pretty close there. Timo Meyer's 1 mile behind Wilson, who's 1 mile behind Pelech. I feel like, you know, a lot of these guys are probably like really close to each other. But yeah, Pollock should definitely be on this list, if not top 5 on this list. Pelech, though, having in the top 10, I don't think I mind too much because it actually was, you know, pretty close to Hedman. Svechnikov here at 93. I'm pretty sure last year he was also on the top 10 slapshot power list, and I saw someone mention the fact that he's only scored like 1 slapshot goal in his career or something like that. Maybe I'm getting him confused with somebody else, but I don't think Svechnikov should be top 10 on the slapshot power. Colin Parayko 93, number 7, that's fine. Carlson 8, also 93, I think is fine. Kaapo Kakko there at number 9, 92 power. I don't really know of him being known for his slap shot. I mean, you look at his production too. 157 games played, 26 goals. I mean, obviously some of the D-men have hard shots, don't put up a lot of goals, but I don't know. Kaapo Kakko is kind of a weird inclusion on this list. Number 10 there, Nathan MacKinnon. Personally, I'd probably have Matthews over McKinnon. I feel like they both have really powerful wrist shots, but Matthews probably has the best, you know, most powerful wrist shot in the game. His slap shot on a 1T, I feel like probably should, you know, have him in this top 10 list. But overall, I think, like I said, Pollock not being anywhere on it, Kakko, Svechnikov being included. Those are probably the weirdest choices for me. Also, guys, I totally forgot to mention the slap shot power. If Victor Hedman has a 94 power with a 103.2 mile per hour slap shot, what is Martin Ferg's slap shot with 109.2? 6 miles per hour faster. I already know the answer. It's probably not even a 90 because the dude's more of an AHL player, but really 109.2. He should have like a 99 slap shot power, but again, because he's in the AHL, I feel like he probably won't even crack 90. Next here, guys, with the wrist shot power, as I mentioned, Austin Matthews there is number 1, 94 power there, tied with Ovechkin. Personally, I think Matthews probably has a more powerful wrist shot than Ovi. Definitely give like the slap shot to Ovi with the 1T, but I think Matthews' wrist shot power could be like a 95, 96. Ovi's is fine there. Line. Carlson having is that a more powerful wrist shot than slap shot? It's the same. Okay. I think his wrist shot should be less powerful than his slap shot. Like, think about it. He's winding up. He's clapping the slapper. I don't think his wrist shot is quite that powerful. Svechnikov there, 92 power for the wrist shot. Makes a lot more sense, I think, than the slap shot. Draisaitl there, 92. Does have a nice release. Kind of crazy to see McDavid nowhere on this list. When you look at goals last year, you got Austin Matthews first with 60. Draisaitl second, 55. Kreider's got 52, but that was mostly, you know, rebounds and, like, you know, dishing out pucks in front of the net, things like that. Ovi's got 50. Kaprizov 47. Same with Kyle Connor. Those are 2 guys. Neither one being on this list is very interesting to me. I feel like they should probably be in the top 10 when you're literally, you know, top 5 in goals. And then again, McDavid there, 44 goals. Not like the guy has a weak wrist shot or anything, like super accurate, but he's also got some zip on it. So, yeah, look at the wrist shot power here, I think. McDavid definitely should be on here. Who would I take out? Carlson for starters. So after taking out Carlson for McDavid, I'd probably take out like Svechnikov and Malkin for Kaprizov and Connor. What would their powers be? I don't know. Maybe just all 3 92s, but still, that puts them on this list. Stamkos there, 92, makes a lot of sense. McKinnon, I just mentioned, has a great wrist shot. I think could actually be higher than 92. I'd say it's on par with Laine's, if not higher, like say 94. And again, Kucherov 92, I think definitely fitting. So, I don't know, guys. Again, these ratings, these might be the worst so far the 3 days. Having these 3 guys, McDavid, Connor, Kaprizov, nowhere in the top 10 wrist shot power is definitely a choice. Not having Ryan Pollock top 10 slap shot power, but having Adam Pelech there along with Kakko, Svechnikov. Makar is the number 1 Deaking player. The top 10 are 23. I mean, having Zegras there above Sider, having Byram above Dobson. There's some choices here for sure, but the good news is we do have roster share. The bad news for me is it's going to take me a lot more time to like fix all these ratings and make the roster more realistic, but luckily for you guys, you don't have to worry about that. I'll put in the time and get that roster for you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts on all these ratings in the comment section below. If you guys did enjoy it, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the sub button down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.